Hello, friends. The 822nd day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. In the Kharkiv direction, heavy fighting is taking place along the entire line of combat contact. In the Liptsy area, the situation remains unchanged, positional combat continues. In the northern part of Vovchansk and in the Styria area, shooting battles continue. General Staff spokesman Prokhorenko said that the Ukrainian armed forces stopped the Russian army in the north of the Kharkiv region and are conducting counter-offensive actions. The enemy is conducting offensive operations in order to create a buffer zone. While the enemy is stopped, the situation is controlled. Counter-offensive actions are being carried out, he said. He says that near the border in the Sumy and Chernihiv regions, the situation is under control, but Russia is amassing troops on its territory and is conducting shelling every day. Bloomberg, citing statements by the Ukrainian military, writes that the Ukrainian armed forces are planning a counter-offensive in the Kharkiv region in order to push back Russian troops who have seized territory in the northeast of the region. The agency said Ukrainian troops stopped a Russian advance that opened a new front but failed to achieve their goal of creating a buffer zone of up to 30 kilometers. The Ukrainian armed forces deny information voiced by a Ukrainian fighter in a CNN story that in Liptsy near Kharkiv there was nothing prepared in case of a Russian attack. The 13th Brigade of the National Guard Hartia stated that the soldier's phrase was taken out of context. His unit received orders to improve our positions and equip additional resistance centers closer to the state border, where no defensive structures were envisaged according to the plan. This unit had a tactical success, had the conditions to move forward, and now its task was consolidation, which involves the preparation of fortifications, says the brigade. The brigade also states that there were fortifications near Kharkiv, and they now allow us to hold the defense. And individual fighters have the right to their opinion, but for this, they must have all the information. At the same time, it became known yesterday that the State Bureau of Investigation accuses 28 commanders of the Russians seizing 10 villages in the Kharkiv region. According to the court registry, the Territorial Department of the State Bureau of Investigation in Poltava is seizing a number of secret military documents as part of criminal proceedings opened on the facts of the Russians breaking through the state border in the Kharkiv region. According to the pre-trial investigation, on May 10, 2024, in a number of areas of settlements of the Kharkiv region along the state borderline, during the assault operations of the Russian army, there were facts of abandonment of combat positions by units of the Ukrainian armed forces. We are talking about units of one company, which were part of the first echelon of defense. As a result of this emergency situation, the Russian offensive had to be repelled by the forces of the second echelon of defense. According to investigators, the command of the 125th Brigade and its subordinate units allegedly did not properly organize the defense of positions on the border of the Kharkiv region and Russia, which led to the loss of military equipment and personnel. In total, the names of 28 military personnel appear in the cases. This is the commander of the Operational Tactical Group, the brigade commander, battalion commanders, company commanders, the head of the Headquarters Intelligence Department, whose involvement is verified by the State Bureau of Investigation. According to the Ukrainian telegram channel Deep State, the Russians advanced in the northern part of Klishchiivka, near Bakhmut. According to data from the Ukrainian side, the enemy gained a foothold in the central and southern parts of the settlement and advanced to a depth of 950 meters. Let me remind you that the Russian Ministry of Defense announced the capture of the village on May 22. Meanwhile, the commander of the Achilles Battalion of the 92nd Separate Assault Brigade spoke about the difficult situation at the front. Where our lines were very heavily fortified, the Russians used guided bombs and simply leveled those positions, Fedorenko told the New York Times. The fighter showed on the phone map where Russian guided bombs destroyed 3 lines of Ukrainian defense. According to him, no one could withstand such shelling. The Ukrainian troops suffered losses and were forced to retreat. Fedorenko claims that fighting in the east has never been so brutal. He believes the Russians will likely be able to capture the area around Chasiv Yar within a few weeks. He considers it possible to hold the city only after receiving U.S. assistance. Now there is an acute shell hunger. The guns fired only 2 shells a day when they should have fired at least 30. Imagine a boxing match where there are equal boxers, but one of them can hit once, and his opponent can hit 10 times, says Commander. As for the drones that Ukraine's armed forces have at their disposal, with their help, all we can do now is slow down the Russian advance. In the Avdiivka sector, the enemy's advance is recorded near Arkhangelsk and Umensky. Umensky, judging by the deep state map, has completely moved into the gray zone. Russian telegram channels claim that this village has been completely captured, but Ukraine has not confirmed this. It is believed that the settlement is located on the defense line that the Ukrainian armed forces built after the retreat from Avdiivka to protect Pokrovsk. This line rests on a number of reservoirs. The General Staff writes today that at Yevhenii, the Russians have had partial success east of Yevhenii, and Ukrainian troops are taking active measures to restore the lost position. This is also a movement to the west, towards Pokrovsk. Friends, this channel exists solely thanks to your support. If you have the opportunity and desire to support the channel, I will be very grateful to you. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.